Hello, good morning. Today's videos are brought simulcastly by our sponsors, Coca-Cola. No, I'm only joking. Anyway, it's 20 to 8, it's almost quarter to 8 here in the Philippines. And I'm here in Bulacan region, that's the province of Bulacan, about an hour's drive from northeast of Manila proper, in a place called Baliwag. Sounds like scallywag. Well, last night I tried to do a video, I think around 9:30 it was, and I've noticed that number one is that when I do a live, I do get a lot more people watching, which is encouraging to say the least. But what comes is I'm getting a lot of viewers from India, dare I say India. I had a couple from Africa, which are always pleased to see other people watching the videos. But what's turning out to be a little bit concerning is that they're all new viewers, and I'll call them keyboard warriors, because last night I had to delete a number of comments as we were talking, which of course is somewhat annoying having to do that. They clearly have the ability to go on both channels at the same time too, so I was able to remove them, and they're rather bad choice comments. We'll say bad choice rather than vulgar. But it is rather surprising that, well, hang on, it's not surprising, because when you do get new people on the channel, you get sometimes idiots joining just for the sake of creating problems. And rather than call them trolls, they have to do it more than once or twice on the channel before I perceive them really as trolls. But I'm not going to let them create any major problem. But my thought for the day is shared usually by a video, and in that video it's always what pops into my head at the time. And part of understanding the Philippines is, of course, understanding people themselves, the ones around you. And it always amazes me how, even when you think you found somebody who you can really connect to, mentally that is, how even then there is a certain block in understanding. And yet, you know, when they tell you something, you sort of understand what they're talking about and where they're coming from, but it's a very simplistic way of approaching life. And you've got to realize that maybe that's probably the difficulty in so many relationships over here. You know, we come from a country that's we call it a Western country, somehow thinking that somehow our life in the West is going to be different or better than that here in the Philippines. But I just wonder if it is, because some of us also hark back at their early life and how they were of the thought that life was going to be this or that way as they grew up. And we also look back in fondness of how our lives were, you know. I mean, there was a great series in England on, I'm not sure whether it was ITV or BBC. It was called The Darling Buds of May. It was a sort of a semi-comedy, but it also touched on life back in those golden years of the early 50s, early 60s, when life was so lacking in the things of today, where mobile phones weren't a part of it, where growing up in a village was a delight for most. We're just not to ignore you guys. We have mothballs, that's an interesting one. Hello mothballs, you must smell nice this morning. Hi John, and Terry. Hello Terry Fontane. Hey man, that's alright. Can I donate? Donate? Oh. Yes, if you go to my previous videos, I don't think I put it on this channel, but I will, if you want to listen very, very carefully. And this is not a e-begging channel by any means. It's called PayPal. PayPal.me, full stop between, it's all in one sentence. PayPal, lowercase, dot me, M-E, / John N for Norman, all one word, John N Childs. And all donations are always greatly received, and I really do appreciate those that choose to support the channel in that way. As we all know that YouTube tends to want to take as much as possible from one's super chat, which is a very easy way of donating to a channel, but 30% plus then of course tax on top of that means that you're probably more likely going to get about 50% of what somebody has decided to give you out of the kindness of their heart. But that's how it works. So that's what we do, Terry. YouTube is not the fastest, and the other one is, of course, it gets to me quicker. So it's a bit like Buy Me a Coffee, which I'm trying to set up at the moment on both the channels, and always very appreciative. Good morning, Ian. Is this a double live again? Yes, it is. You see, now you can comment on this one. Darling Buds of May. Great series it was, Timothy. You watched it in America in the 90s. Yes, I think it was a PBS, Public Broadcasting Service TV. Yes, it more than likely was on that system. And we have Ed Marie Mays Buchanan. And it looks like, not sure whether that's a sick comment or not. Never mind. Thumbs up anyway for joining us. And Kenny T, not Kenny Rogers, Kenny T. Hello, John. And as we swip across to British Expat, we'll have a look over here. We have Yusuf, SA, South Africa. Legend Gaming, hi, hello Legend. And then we also have, I must get my glasses. Raylene Manor, hi. And you have to apologise for my not pronouncing the word correctly. And it looks like something hawk. Hello sir, have a lovely day. Thank you, I hope you do too. Timothy, hello mate, hello. And Thomas Spinelli, mate. I'm Joe Garcia's friend. Well, if you're Joe Garcia's friend, you're a friend of mine, because I love Joe. A fellow Australian with a foreign background, just like myself. And yeah, he's had some issues in the past, and hopefully he's moving forward too. And Truly Progressive saying good morning to me. You're at it early today. I am. Maganda Numaga. Oh, very good. I like that. And Timothy, we have lots of British TV series in America on public TV. Yeah, I don't think you can really beat those. They're really, really good. Grandpa, have you seen Hitler? Hello, Earth. Now that is a strange comment, isn't it? No, well actually I have. I used to see him growing up on the documentaries, and he didn't work out very well for him, did it? But it's always good to see that you've followed me over to be a flea in my ear. It seems Earth 573. Do you actually have a name, Earth, or do you hide behind the name Earth 573? With a comment like that, maybe I'm missing something, or maybe you're talking about the series. We'll give you that benefit of the doubt at this point. So, yes, back to what I was talking about. Oh yes, the most common, most talked about issue right at this moment in the Philippines is the heat. Wow. Pangasinan, or the area around there, Pampanga, 46 degrees it's expected. Maybe it's hit 50 degrees for today. That's pretty warm. That's Middle Eastern temperatures. I don't know whether we have an El Nino or an El something or other, which is causing it. I know that we have an easterly wind or easterly push. The weather is coming from the Pacific, so it's very, very hot over there. And it's spreading right across the Philippines at the moment. In fact, I'm not quite sure why all the schools shut themselves down. The local organisations tend to shut them down when it's really, really hot. And you think, well, have they not heard of fans or aircon in a school? Or maybe investing in possibly solar power on the roofs of schools and making it more comfortable for the students to go there. Because after all, we all need to go to school, and just to announce that the schools are no longer operating because of the heat. I've never heard of in England, for instance, schools being shut down because it's too cold or too wet. In Australia, I've never heard of a school shutting down, or New Zealand, because it's too hot to go to school. Because the schools are insulated, and the schools do have fans, and I believe some of them have aircon, certainly in Australia. Colleges do anyway. So it's always good. Now, where are we? We have Kenny D. Do you consider yourself an Aussie or English? My parents could have gone to Aussie as £10 bombs, but my mother chickened out. Do I consider? I think we're always whatever we were born. We're always born English, or we're born French or Italian or Greek. But if we go to Australia and we make that home, we always call Australia home. And as the song goes, we always call Australia home. And there's something about becoming Australian that provides us with a little bit of zest when we go back to England, because the first thing that we notice is people say, oh, you sound Australian, and you don't see yourself as sounding Australian, but I suppose we pick up a little bit of the twang, and therefore I found when I was working in England that it was actually a plus, because having that Australian accent, or what was perceived to be that, enabled me to open doors and cross bridges that probably I wouldn't be able to. There's still got this attitude, wealthy people in England sort of look down on their tradesmen as if they're better than us. But if you're Australian and you rock up to a house and give them a quotation, you also have a certain amount of familiarity with the person with wealth, because Australians, it's always hard to tell what the difference between a wealthy Australian and a poor Australian as a general rule. You see them both dressed in the same outfit. You wouldn't know necessarily which one was the more cultured or the more well-heeled. And I think that was the case. I remember in London when I was working with another gentleman who was basically a Mr. Fix-It. He would arrange the work and I would go and give the quotation, and he would receive that authority to proceed from then. But he always introduced me, oh, this is Mr. Child, especially if I was doing a job for an Australian, and I would just say, and the woman especially would just say, just call me Pauline or call me Paula. And I'd say, yeah, well, you just call me John. And he would look at me, the guy who'd organised it, almost in horror that I should be so familiar to be talking to them at the same level. After all, don't we do all the same things, whether we're rich or poor? And therefore, why do we need to position ourselves at a different level? It's the same here in the Philippines. We are the same as the people who rock up at the house wanting to do work for us, or we engage them. If we are going to look down on them as if they're somehow lower than ourselves just because we're paying the bills, I think that's the wrong approach to have, especially here in the Philippines, because we may obviously have more money than they do, but not always. Sometimes you'll find people, if you look at it, they might have major holdings of land, so that makes them quite wealthy, but they don't see it that way. They see them living in I suppose, a modest house, or even maybe a substandard house. They don't see themselves rich in other things. And I recognise that. I often say to people, oh, you've got more money than I had, simply because you look around at what they've got. They've got a beautiful farm, plantation of bananas, or avocado, or something like that, which makes them a steady income. And for somebody having a steady income in the Philippines, that's an extremely good thing to be in, good position to be in. Right, now let's have another look. British expat. I'm going to bring you closer. Come closer. I'm just going to read you. G'day, guy. That's from BRIT. Oh no, it's from Ben. Sorry, Ben. Again. SCOM. Hello, Ben. Calm down. Gay guy. You're a gay guy. All right, okay. Ben. Bro, I think I saw you 100 years ago on the street. Oh, we got another one of those. Isn't that funny how they come out of the woodwork? Love to see you, Ben. But I can assure you, you won't be around for long. SOM. Ben, calm down. Samuel. You are defo gay. You are defo gay. Hello, Samuel. That's nice of you today. Calm down. Filipina KK. Hello, John. Good morning. How are you? I'm doing fine. How are you? Kim. Thumbs up, number 1. Scott Baird. Hello, Scott. How's your mum today? John, I have a nice-looking 67-year-old Filipino for you if you're interested. This is not a dating channel, Scott. Daz, thinking of getting the clan back together if you're interested. All right, getting the clan back. That sounds interesting. Filipina KK. I'm okay, John. Thank you. Scott, laugh out loud. Samuel, you have, I'll bring the robes and the rope. Interesting, Samuel. It sounds like you are a friend of our dear friend. Now, what was his name? Ben, that's right. Ben has some rather strange comments there too. But nevertheless, we'll get back to some more chit-chat. Where were we talking about? Oh, we were talking about, I can't remember. You tell me what we were talking about. Oh, I'm a little bit down. I found that it may be a number of weeks before I actually get my teeth back into place. Yesterday I did my molds, the upper and bottom, and some other kind of liquid sort of rubber or something it was, and it was, I think it was to do with the bite. Can you give me some good life advice? I'll have a go, coconut guy. And Samuel, only joking. Have a great day, fella. That's okay, Samuel. No problem. We just need to keep a. I look like Jimmy Savile. No, I look like Popeye, like this. And that's my nickname, Popeye. I can do all these funny faces at the moment without teeth. And I'm a cross between Steptoe and Popeye. So, and yeah, we need to get back to reality, I think. And that is that Kenny T says that he paid 100,000 Philippine money for his teeth, and you got a bargain. I think I did. I think I've got, well, I'm hoping I did. Anyway, we'll wait and see how. Can you play video games? Oh, I think I can play video games. Yes, Gary. Why are you inviting me to? Oh, I see Earth 573. Grandpa, we love you. Yes, that's okay, Earth on Grumpy. That's all right. Now, yeah, oh, that's right. We're talking about the teeth. Yeah, so I did a bit of Googling. I did, as you do. And you are the best. Keep it going. Thank you, Gary. Yeah, I did a bit of Googling because when they took the teeth out, they took out half. I suppose their way of thinking was it maybe pretty major to do it all in one go. So they did one half, and it didn't really, well, it certainly wasn't that uncomfortable, but they did that half. Then we had another dentist in the same practice, a more junior one, did the other half, and it appears that he had the harder job, maybe. Maybe the teeth were harder to come out. I know one at the top and the back it was almost, I felt like they were using a Kango hammer to get it all out. But they ended up having me coming back, and the first dentist, the principal dentist, a lady, a charming young lady, and probably maybe 26, 28 maximum. I'm taking a guess there because she's obviously had to do dentistry as a practice. But she stitched me up and did everything, and it's all healing very nicely. The swelling has gone down, but they have to wait for the gum to actually cover any of the little bits and pieces there. And that actually cost 11,000 pesos. You got the white tax. No, I didn't. Oh, yes, maybe you did at 100,000, yes. Hot dog. Do you like hot dogs or shrimp? I do. I like hot dogs. They're not every day, but I like them. What kind of phone have you got? They're both Vivo, which is in the same stable as opal. And the reason, that's something I was going to ask. Ian, my friend Ian living in the Philippines, has got a channel. And he asked me the other day, why don't I ask you guys? Now, you're looking at me this way, both channels. And the question is that easier for you to watch as opposed to turning the camera sideways and seeing a more wider vision of the live? I often wonder whether watching it in a vertical is easier for people watching, or do they end up seeing this black surround with an image in the middle, which is how I would see it if I was watching it on TV. Oh yes, I've been watching that. Filipina Unfiltered. She's an interesting lady, brought up in America from the age of 5, a Filipino lady, quite attractive old dear. I think she's over 50, so I'm being tongue-in-cheek, calling her an old dear. She's very good for her age. And she has some quite interesting presentations on her channel. So if you want to go and check her out, I would. And to be fair, Filipina KK, I know that some of you are a little bit against it. If you want to check out her channel, why not give her a look, a drop by and have a look what she's up to. You might be surprised. But where are we? AI coconut guy, yes, white text. Now where are we? Tenigi. Yeah, he took a hammer and chisel to take some of my teeth out. Thought he was joking when he said till he took the hammer out. Yes, I'm sure. Well, they didn't quite do it like that, but they certainly apply the pliers and the grips and the picks to it, and also some form of, like a little, I suppose it's a grinder on the end of it. You know, the classic dentist where they, you hear in the background and you smell the odor of burning bone structure. Very, very nice, especially on the with one of those silly things in your mouth to suck out the surplus saliva. Oh, I love dentists. I'm sure most of you don't. But yes, like I said to you, the cost was 11,000. The fix-up and the stitches, I think, was about 180, maybe 200 I paid. And then I didn't have to pay anything to go back and have the mold done yesterday, top and bottom. But apparently, well, I paid 10,000 as a down payment for an upper and a lower, which is 16,500 in acrylic, not plastic. And that's the first down payment, and then that leaves a balance of, it's 16,500 each, top and bottom, and so that's a balance of about 20 something. So all up about 45, 46. But it's the time frame that is a little bit annoying, in that you initially said, oh yes, it'll be done there, and then this will happen 2 days later. Well, it just doesn't happen like that. What they don't tell you is that you have to wait for the gum to relax and go back to heal itself for all of the action. And once that's happened, they also then have to wait for the gum to cover, I suppose we'll call it, the stump of anything that they've left behind, whether it's bone growth or whatever. But they've removed I believe, all of the teeth, and we're just waiting for, I suppose we'll call it, the crater to cover up. It was a little uncomfortable when they put put the mould on, biting in fairly hard and holding it steady for a few minutes while the resin dries. But otherwise, there's not really any discomfort as such. So I recommend anybody who wants to get their dental work done, there's nothing wrong with a good dentist here. At one point I might put it in the comments section. I'll give you an image of her card, so at least you know if you are in this region or nearby, you can maybe get a quotation from her and see what she has to offer you. But she's a very good, it appears a very good dentist. And I give credit only to those that I really genuinely believe deserve that accolade. So, yes, enough of my teeth and hammers and chisels and grandpas. Let's get down to the real nitty-gritty. Kenny T says, I was actually hammer and chisel, but I never felt it. Yes. Yes, it's good with the anti-pain relief thing. Get them pulled on a Tuesday and new ones in Friday. Ooh, you got them on a Tuesday and then, I bet that's unusual. Don't know why. 15 implants was a bargain. Right, so you've got implants. So that's where they, as far as I'm aware, they put a screw into the jaw, and then when they come for the implant is attached to that screw. Again, I think they're quite expensive. I know that, for instance, having a tooth out at the lady that I went to is $600 to take out a tooth, which is extremely cheap. And but if you have a root canal, that's $5,000. So, there's a lot more work involved in a root canal than pulling out with a pair of pliers, I call them, nippers, like tile nippers. Screw-ins, yes. Yeah, well, I would imagine that they would be quite expensive, Kenny, because I imagine it also that the gum would return to its normal position once they're in. So your gum would be repairing itself around the implant instead of going into or across the crater that they would have removed otherwise. So you have a crater where they're taking it out, but in turn they're drilling and they're tapping so that the screw can go in, or maybe it's a self-tapping screw. Amazing technology, that's for sure. But then, of course, that's why you pay $100,000. Ooh, that's a lot of money for a Filipino. It's not a lot when you work it out in pounds or other currency. But anyway, my thought for the day is what I've been speaking to you about. And it's always great to have a feedback of those that are watching, and one would always hope that you continue to watch. And as I said before, you can always, if you look at some of my earlier ones, I will go back and edit these 2-channel publications and put a part in there where it will show you my PayPal account if you choose to do so. And in the next coming weeks, I'm hoping to get Buy Me a Coffee, which is another way of helping the channel. And at the moment we have Anna, the Philippine village girl, has just come on, so she's live as well. So you've had 34, almost 35 minutes of me waffling on, and I hope that you've enjoyed it, and no doubt will catch me again soon. So thanks to everybody who's been watching this morning, and I hope your day is a good one, and that you don't cook yourself too much if you're out there in the heat, or if you're in a cold climate, stay warm. You don't need to stay warm here, that's for sure. You just need to stay cool and hydrated. So, bye-bye to you all. Look at that. Double hands there and double hands there. Bye, guys. Thank you very much for joining me. Bye.